and gentlemen, my name is Walter Disney, but you can call me Walt. You may know me as an animator. I spent my whole life been drawing since I was a little kid in Missouri. We lived in the Midwest, and we moved around a ton. I learned how to draw when I would draw pictures for my neighbors, and I would sell them to my friends and family. That's really when my love of art began. I was the cartoonist for the school newspaper in high school, and it was a good time. I got a job with an ad company. I worked in many different places: ad companies, art studios, and eventually an animation company. And then my brother Roy and I moved to Hollywood to expand our career in animation. When we moved to Hollywood, we created this character. His name was Oswald. He was a rabbit, and we made cartoons featuring him. We made a deal with this woman named Margaret Winkler, who would distribute our cartoons so that people could watch them. Our cartoons were doing fairly well, so our distributor somehow took the rights to that character, and she bought out the contracts of all of my animators except for one. So that was a really low point in my life, and it was difficult to overcome. I was bankrupt. I had no animators left, but one day on a train ride from Manhattan to Hollywood, this mouse popped into my mind and onto a drawing paper. His name was Mickey, and I pitched the ideas to my brother and our other business partner, and we immediately created 3 new cartoons. 2 of them were silent films, but the 3rd one featured sound and music to go along with it. I played the voice of Mickey myself, and it was called Steamboat Willie. It was the start of my commercial success, and we did really great with those cartoons. We created some characters to go along with Mickey, his friends, Minnie Mouse, Donald Duck, Dippy Dog. We renamed him Goofy because that name was no good, and Pluto the dog. These cartoons were called Silly Symphonies, and they were the start of everything for us. Eventually, just for fun, I wanted to create a full-length feature film, animated, but I had some critics tell me that I couldn't do it, it was impossible, it would never work. But I mean, it's kind of fun to do the impossible. And so I did. I released Snow White and the 7 Dwarfs in 1937, and it was crazy successful. We produced $1.5 million roughly, and it was crazy how successful it was because the Great Depression was going on at the same time. But the people found the songs good to sing along with, and the story was uplifting, so it did fairly well. I made a few more movies, like Fantasia and Pinocchio, and those weren't as successful as Snow White. But then I also created Bambi and Dumbo, and those did much better. Through all the cartoons and movies that I made, and all the projects that we've done, by far my favorite was Disneyland. It was a huge challenge, a project for us to complete. It took years. Years were spent formulating ideas and preparing, and even more years were spent under construction. It finally opened in 1955 in summer, the perfect setting for the perfect day. We invited movie stars and their families to come join us, and it was supposed to be a really special day, and it was, except for all the things that went wrong. Rides broke down, we ran out of drinks to serve, and the asphalt on Main Street was still wet, so ladies who were wearing high heels would sink into the ground. But eventually, Disneyland became what it was destined to, and it really, truly did become the happiest place on earth. For me, for people who lived in California, and for people who lived all over the world. Now, if there's anything I want you to take away from this, it would be to follow your dreams, because when I was a little kid, I had no idea that my silly doodles or the things that I drew for my friends would ever get this far. But I think that if you follow your dreams and ignore all the discouragement, because everyone has their ups and downs, but I know that the dreams that you wish will come true. Thank you.